This week on Life on Jupiter. You ever wondered how to install a Cutlass bearing? We'll show you how. And thankfully, we are wrapping up our jobs list on the hard. Replacing the Cutlass bearing on this boat is comparatively easy. Unlike other designs, the Cutlass bearing slides easily into the P bracket and is simply held in by some glue. There's no need to refrigerate your bearing and no need for mechanical presses. Just simply coat it in glue and put it in. At least it should be that easy. So the idea is to get the shaft in the right place. So I'm going to connect this to the coupling inside, and then the glue will set in the right position. It's going to become a mess. Better take it out again, and
this one.
We'll try to put it on the shaft first. It's no problem, it's just... See, that's it. It's the angle of your tongue which makes all the difference. Our shaft. Now this is a homemade Dripless seal. Now it's made out of exhaust hoses and some Cutlass bearing and an oil seal. Now, I'm not going to describe how to make it because it is the designer builder's own invention, and these things are worth $600 or $800 if you were to buy off the shelf. And let me just tell you, he can make it up for about 60. And this has been going 6 years and has never been a problem. And this is one of the oil seals in the Dripless seal. And I'm just going to put a spare on the shaft in case I ever have to replace it. it's like the final barrier to the water, that seal, that oil seal. So if it was ever to start leaking, I can just push that one in without needing to remove the shaft. There's the oil seal there, but the one that's inside is under this hose clamp just here. So if it was to ever break, I can just pull that out, clip off the old one with a pair of pliers, push the new one down. But in the meantime, I'm just going to leave that here so that it's ready to go. That's pretty good reasoning that shaft and the engine are in alignment nicely, because it just slides straight into the coupling. No hesitation. This coupling is just 4 bolts which clamp down onto the shaft. Now we'll go and fix up the glue in the Cutlass bearing, and then it will seal nicely. I showed you all the Sikaflex around prop shaft here before, and it's good to stop any water coming in, or to minimize the water coming in. So that's where I'm going to put it, up in there, make a new one of these. Yeah. The boys have got to antifoul this, so we don't want any sticker on the outside either. Still plenty of meat on this anode. Put that back, and I'm going to put 2 on. So I positioned this anode so that I can move the shaft backwards out of the coupling if I want to, for some reason, whether it was to replace that oil seal in the Dripless seal. So right there I can move the shaft out of the coupling and move it back to this far, so that much I can move it out. And this is also a safety stop to stop the shaft actually falling out of the boat completely. Trying something new, lanolin on the propeller to stop growth. It's cheap. The other option is like prop speed, but prop speed is like hundreds of dollars. I think a DIY kit for a small prop, maybe I'd get away with 1 kit for 2 props this small, but anyway, it's $300 or $400.
Oh,
sorry, B.
really? Hot.
Yep.
That's beautiful.
So the idea is to heat the propeller up, but not too much, because you know you don't need to burn out your plastic fittings in the bushings, etc. Just enough to make the metal thirsty, in theory.
You okay?
Slippery hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gonna heat this side. So I'll give this a wipe on now, then we'll let it cool down, and I'll put another wipe on as well. Let's see how it goes. It's worth a try, because for the next 6 or 8 months we're going to be in the muddy river water of Central America, or Middle America. What do you call it? Mississippi, anyway. Tennessee. So we're not going to be able to clean the propeller. So we're out of the water. One of the jobs I've been meaning to do when we come out of the water is to change the through hulls, right? As you know, aluminium boat, we have to have plastic through hulls. I'm not sure if mine are nylon or PVC, but I wanted to change it to the glass reinforced plastics. There's a nice one out of New Zealand called Resigned, and they're pretty cheap too. I mean, they're much cheaper than the Marlon fittings, like a third of the price of the Marlon fittings, but it's glass reinforced, and that sounds good to me. There's a distributor here in the US that sells the True Design fittings, and we'd measured them all, and I was this close to ordering, and then I went, the thread. I'm using BSP thread, but that's not used in the States. So I checked with the distributor, and they went, no, we don't have BSP thread. We have NPT or NPS thread. So if I was to change my through hulls, I would have had to change all the valves as well. So, and then not only the valve, but the other side of the valve, like the hose tails. Have to change that too. So, not going to change them. But now we're out of the water, I'm going to give it a bit of a wobble. Make sure it's strong. It's 6 years old. No signs of any. I've never had anything nearly happening. No problem with these fittings. But now I'm going to give them a bit of a wobble. Pretty happy with that one. Alright. Well, it's as much force as I feel comfortable with, and I mean, you've just got to be careful when you're in the build you don't kick them or slip on them and break them, you know. And of course, always having your softwood bungs close by. I'm happy with these. I'll go check the rest. Well, we slept in. We're up on the hard here. We've got a lot of work to do today. I know it's Sunday, but let's get to it. Come on, finish your coffee.
You want your glasses?
Please excuse all the mess. Obviously a boat in progress is a freaking mess, and oh! I forgot to take the rubbish. We had a visitor last night. He did wake us up.
Yeah.
But only just as he was leaving. Raccoons!
Yeah, but we didn't know that there's a mess in there.
I didn't know he was here for so long. I saw him just as he was leaving.
Yeah.
Alright, first job. So this week I drilled out all these rivets and took the plate off the fuel tanks so that we could clean this, because this tank was had diesel bug in it for the last 4 years. So it's nice and clean. It's all nice and clean now. I had filler ports here which with the original design, but I had these ones put in, which are much better because you can get your arm in there and it's right over the intake. That's the engine intake just there. So I got rid of those filler ports. We didn't need them anymore. We're just going to fill that little cavity with some polyester filler. So the diesel tank's done. Get my glasses. Let's go downstairs.
Okay.
So the bottom, the boys have spent a whole 4 hours on it and sanded in preparation for antifoul. Just needs a little bit more, some areas. I took out the propeller shafts and checked the Dripless seal inside, cleaned up the propellers obviously, replaced the Cutlass bearing in here, and I've tried for the first time ever lanolin on the propeller, so it's very sticky, but hopefully that's what the barnacles think too. So that just, oh, the rudders came out. Just did a bit of touch up where there was some nicks, and I resealed the top of the rudder post to stop the rainwater getting in. So that's that. Started polishing, still got more to go. We dropped out the anchor chain and we've painted the new markings on it, 4 meter marks. So it's ready to go back up now, and I've also swapped it end for end. So this end used to live in the water a lot and it's really quite rusty. Only 1.5 years old, this chain. Bit disappointed in this. I can't remember what the brand is. It's an Italian brand. Can't think what it is. But yeah, now we've got the bright end. We'll be in the water most of the time. I think we're going to have to regel this in about 1 year's time, maybe 2.
Show us your...
Oh, well, it hasn't been washed yet.
Yeah.
But this side's polished, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Just need to wash.
So,
What else?
I don't know, it feels like we've been flat out busy, but yeah, that's all that's happened so far. So today's Sunday, it should be back in the water on Thursday is the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it'll be on schedule for that. So it'll be about 8 days out of the water in that case. Anchor up. Twisting.